Half of the failures of MOTs every year fall into just 3 categories. Knowing what these 3 categories are can reduce the likelihood of us having the inconvenience of a failed MOT test. The MOT test will either give you a pass or a fail. Now, we have to note there are also dangerous defects. If you get a dangerous defect, you should not drive the vehicle. It's been flagged up as dangerous. You'll probably find your insurance is invalid. We're also talking about serious defects that would prevent the car from passing the MOT, but they wouldn't be deemed necessarily dangerous to drive the car. And we're talking about advisories. This is where something is flagged up. There is a fault, but it's not serious enough to warrant a failure. But chances are with these items, you will get a failure the following year. It gives you a heads up on things to look out for in advance. We're just going to look at some interesting statistics from government websites and see what the pass rate trend has been for MOTs over the years. And from the figures we're given, we can extrapolate those most likely causes of failure and preempt any problems before it even gets to the MOT tester. The MOT inspection is an annual test that all vehicles in the UK have to go through. It only applies to vehicles that are over 3 years old, but it is quite a rigorous examination. You'll get an advisory which just alerts your attention to a potential defect in the future. You'll also have a fail if there is a serious defect. And we're going to look at some interesting statistics with regard to serious defects that would have resulted in a failure. And we're also going to highlight the most likely causes of failing this annual inspection. And just knowing what these typical causes are can mean we spend 5 or 10 minutes just going around our vehicle checking these things, and we can avoid the inconvenience of having a failed MOT test. The UK government releases statistics every year as to the number of MOT tests and failures, and from these statistics we're able to extrapolate some interesting trends. The number of MOT tests has peaked at about 65 million tests in recent years. The initial failure rate, this is where a serious defect was found but then later corrected, resulting in a pass on the MOT, has changed from over 30% in the 2013 to 2014 year down to 22.4% in the 2024 to 2025 period. The dangerous failure rate, this is where defects were deemed to be very, very dangerous and you wouldn't be able to drive the car home from the MOT test centre, has also improved. In 2019-2020, it hovered just over 9% at 9.18%. And in 2024-2025 year, that was down to 7.69%. Overall, we're seeing more cars are passing the MOT and fewer have dangerous defects. What are some of the causes of this? Are cars much better made? Are they more reliable? It's hard to ascertain the actual cause of this improvement just from the data. From my own experience, it does seem that people are more interested in maintaining their car. The service intervals are more rigorously observed by the majority of drivers. And overall, this means that drivers are taking more care of their car. And because they're taking more care, they're less likely to have one of these failures at the time of the MOT. What are the most common failures when the MOT inspection is carried out? Nearly half of the faults fall into just 3 categories. At 30%, that's a third of all these failures. It's down to lights, problems with bulbs, indicators, headlamp adjustment or headlamp aim, or even bulb colour. And that is probably one of the easiest things to check. Just walk around the car and check that all the bulbs are working. Use the indicators, leave the hazard lights on, for example, to check all the indicators while you walk around. Check the high beam, check the low beam, and just make sure that there's no funny coloured bulbs in there. I've been caught out. I thought blue bulbs were really cool, and then it came to the annual inspection and I was told that I can't use blue bulbs. But that's one of those things. If you've had anything daft like that, let me know in the comments. I love hearing your experiences. The second most common cause of failures is tyres. These run at about 10% of all these failures, and it doesn't take long to check your tyre pressures, check the tread depth, and just check the condition of the tyre. Now, you're looking out for bulges in the side of the tyre where maybe it's impacted a pavement or curb. You're looking for splits or cracks or any serious defects that are quite deep in the outer rubber surface of the tyre, either in the sidewall or across the tread pattern. And you're just making sure that you have at least the legal minimum amount of tread depth. Again, this is a fairly quick 5-minute check to do, but so far you'll avoid 40% of the risk of having an MOT failure just spending this little bit of time walking around the car. The next most common category of failure is about 8.5% of failures, and this is to do with the driver view. And driver view is quite a wide encompassing area. It could incorporate cracks or chips in the windscreen. It could incorporate defective wipers or defective washers, things you can check very easily yourself within a few minutes. If you have a serious chip or scratch directly in the driver's line, you're almost certainly going to end up with an MOT failure. Take advice, it will depend from region to region and area to area in other countries, but here in the UK there is a chart that has been issued on the maximum size you can have of a defect in certain areas on the screen. And if you have a chip or a crack on the screen, just check with this chart and just make sure that it's not going to result in a failure of your MOT. And most comprehensive insurance policies cover the windscreen to some extent. You may have to contribute a sum of money to the repair or the replacement, and in some cases if it's repaired rather than replaced, you don't have to contribute anything. But again, this will save you the inconvenience of having a failed MOT just checking that. And the other silly thing is people stick stuff in the driver's view, things attached to the windscreen that hold phones, and if they're in the wrong location, they're obstructing the driver's view, and the MOT tester has no option but to fail the car. Although I have known some to just take it off the screen. It only takes a few minutes of their time, and avoid the whole failure and just warn me when I went to get the MOT certificate. That's certainly above and beyond the call of the rules and regulations that they're working to. They're not required to carry out any kind of remedial work to a vehicle at all. They are just assessing the present condition of the car. And if you get a failure for something that was simple and could easily have been removed, don't have a go at the tester. He is just following his rule book, and he may well be under some sort of investigation or inspection or have someone checking his work, and he has no choice but to do everything exactly by the book. Another tip I always like to do is get my MOT test in early. A lot of drivers wait until very near to the expiry date of the MOT test, and if they have a failure, they're potentially off the road. It depends on the category of failure as well. Dangerous failures will just take the vehicle off the road at whatever point in time you have that inspection done, and you may well find that your insurance is invalid if you try to drive a car with a dangerous defect. But a minor defect that results in a fail, it gives you a 30-day window to actually get that remedied and fixed and get the MOT reissued. If it passes and you've gone in 30 days early for the renewal date will be 12 months plus 30 days, whatever you had left on the old certificate. And you will find that at certain times of the year, the MOT testers are under a lot of pressure. The new registrations come out in September. There was a big gap through lockdown where MOT tests were not carried out, and that resulted in pushing a lot of the MOT test dates together. And a lot of places I talk to that test for MOTs have got lots of vehicles during certain times of the year. If you have one of those vehicles, then book in early, don't get caught out. Don't leave this to the last minute. I hope you found this video useful. Please boot the like button. It really does help us to get out there. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, and I know a lot of you haven't, do so. Don't miss out on the great content that we've got planned. And I've lined this video and this playlist up for you that you should find really interesting. Thanks for watching. See you in this next video.